Hey guys, Shane here. So welcome to this armor detailing video, and in this tutorial we're going to be taking a look at doing simple and cheap weld seams. So for this method I'm just going to be using what is known as the stretch sprue method. It's been around for decades, and a good few of you guys have already done videos on this. Panzermeister36 has already done a video on how he does weld seams, and well, we're checking that video out. So I'm just going to light a tea light here. I just find that easier to use a candle rather than holding the sprue under a lighter or a match. It's just easier to control. Again, try not to burn your Bleed Workshop down too, so safety message number one. So I'm just going to take a small section of cut sprue that I just cut off a model frame. And I'm just going to start holding about maybe 2 inches above the flame. I'm not trying to catch it on fire, but I'm trying to just, by twisting it, evenly distributing the heat through the sprue. And once it begins to droop over, it's ready to go. And I just slowly pull it apart, and we can vary how thick the diameter of the plastic gets by how quickly or how slowly we pull it apart. So I'm just going to start cutting sections for my M4 Sherman here. I'm working on, as you know, a Fury Sherman, which is becoming a little kit of horrors for me, because there's just so much I have to do to correct this model. One of the things that Dragon has done incorrectly on this kit is made recessed weld marks or weld beads, which is not correct for Sherman. All of their weld beads are raised. So I'm just going to start taking some Tamiya extra tin, and I'm going to start running it around these sunken weld seams. Now I had to create my stretch sprue to be somewhat thick to ensure that I filled these sunken seams, as I didn't want to use filler and have it react with the paint, or the glue should I say. Also, because I'm using extra tin, which is a hot glue, I'm using my hobby blade to ensure that I push it down without leaving any fingerprints. So once the sprue has been allowed to dry for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to start activating or preparing the sprue for adding our welds. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to give the pieces of sprue, I tend to work in sections, about 3 heavy or healthy coats of extra tin. About 3 coats tends to work really well, and I'm going to wait for about 15 seconds, and that's going to soften the sprue to make it very malleable. And then I'm going to start taking my hobby blade, and I'm going to start applying a very basic weld detail here. Again, different weld methods out there have different signature weld marks, such as an arc welder or a TIG welder will have slightly different appearance to each other. I'm just going for a very generic one here. However, you can do a bit of research and try to recreate the patterns individual welders may create. But as I was saying, I tend to work here in sections. So I just do one section at a time. Again, just apply about 3 coats of extra tin to each section, wait about 15-20 seconds. And then once it's kind of become a little bit soft, then I'll just come here with my hobby blade and just begin to add that texture. Now, sorry that my head keeps coming into shot here because the camera's directly above me, but it is quite small and delicate work. I just wanted to see what I was doing. I can also change the type of pattern or type of shape I'm getting by the direction I'm cutting. If I cut at a slight angle, I can create some pretty interesting furrows into that weld. And if you find that the plastic is beginning to harden, just apply a little bit of extra tin to it as you're working, and it'll just keep it malleable for you. Again, don't drown these parts in extra tin or you'll melt the plastic full stop, including the model. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be like 4 minutes looking at my head, but needs must when it comes to this type of work. You can also create smaller weld seams, like here on the glacis plate, by creating very thin diameter of styrene by basically pulling it apart quite a long distance and relatively quickly, and you can get almost wire-like plastic from the stretch sprue. And again, this is a very faint weld, but it is present and it was missing on this Dragon kit here. But the thinner the plastic, again, the less extra tin you put down. Be very careful about this, so act accordingly to the diameter of the plastic you're working with. If it's a thick weld seam with a thick piece of sprue, 2 or 3 coats. If it's quite narrow, like the size maybe a 0.5mm wire, what have you, 1 coat should do it. Again, trial and error, and you'll kind of figure out what works for you the best. But again, I'd always say just kind of take your time working sections and don't overload the model with glue. And as you can see, it's a very simple but effective manner of getting weld seams. Now some of these seams are a little bit overscaled if I'm honest, but this is actually the first time I've ever used this method on a build, and I'm actually quite happy with it. And it's a lot cheaper than buying the aftermarket sets out there. So guys, I really hope you found this tutorial really useful to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye bye.